Hi guys, I'm Linda, and this is No Frills ASMR. Recently, I don't know, a week ago, I made a video about gerrymandering. If I remember, I'll try to put a little link to it right here, where I just explained what gerrymandering is and a little bit of the history of it. And I think that would be useful information for today's video, because I wanted to talk about what is going on with the Texas redistricting and the California redistricting, possibly. I went into it a little bit on the gerrymandering video, and somebody reached out to me and said, could I talk about it a little bit more? And at first I was a little reluctant, but while I was looking up the gerrymandering stuff, I really did learn quite a bit about what was going on. So I thought, all right, I will try to share it as just the facts. Just the facts, ma'am. As, oh gosh, what was his name? Joe Friday? Maybe. I don't know. From Dragnet. Just the facts, ma'am. So I just thought we could go over that. But one thing I realized is sometimes language I use for people from outside the U.S. might be a little bit confusing. So I just wanted to take one quick second to just, in the U.S., we basically have two major parties, Republican and Democrat. And sometimes I might use different language for them. Like Republican, they are sometimes called the GOP, which is the good old party. I think that's right. Good. Grand old party, right? Grand old party. That's what GOP is. And the Republicans a lot of times use red as their color. They are known as the right, or often conservatives even. And they're like, animal is the elephant. I don't ever call them by that, but I have, I think, said GOP or the right before. Democrats, I don't think they have a grand old party. I can't think of anything, but they're a lot of times the blue color. They're on the left, and their symbol or guy or whatever you want to call them, mascot, is a donkey. I'm sure there's more, but I can't think of it. But so if I ever say like left leaning or right leaning, I think I have used the word GOP before. So I just wanted to clear that up because I saw someone in the comments like a little miffed by that. So that's just an aside real quick. Sorry about that if you are like, yeah, no kidding. All right, so what we're talking about today is the state of Texas. And Texas is the most populous state in the United States as far as residents. They have over 39 million residents in the state of Texas. Oh my God. I just screwed that up. I just messed that up. I was going to start over, but I'm not going to. I said that wrong. California is the most populous. Texas is the second most populous. So we're dealing with the two most populous. I had that in my head backwards. Sorry, Texas. Texas has over 31 million residents, though. They're still huge. Land size, they're giant. Okay. Beep, beep, beep. So yeah, they have 31 million. California has 39 million. I got that mixed. And they are the most populous state in the United States. With 39 million residents. Okay. And based on how many people they have is how they decide how many House seats. I've done a video on the U.S. government. I've done a lot of videos, guys. But so the House is like your representative. So the House is much, you have a lot more members of the House, not like Senate where you have 2 from each state. So California has 57 seats. And Texas has 38 seats. I'm not doing these colors for any reason, just so you know. This is not symbolizing. But, and here's where they are on the map if you're not from here. That doesn't really have any effect on what we're talking about today. All right, let me put my pens away real quick. So, today, what we're basically talking about is what's happening with the possible redistricting of these states and gerrymandering, which, as I said in the other video, I think we should all be concerned about as citizens, not as political parties, as citizens, because even if it works in your favor this time, it might not another time because both parties might try this. So I'm just saying, as a citizen, it should matter. So here's what's going on right now. In the state of Texas, their governor is a Governor Greg Abbott. In the state of California, their governor is named Gavin Newsom, and these two are both, as far as governors go, I don't think anybody knows, maybe Florida's governor, but Newsom and Abbott are two, they are out there. They are definitely getting their names out there, which says to me they probably are considering runs for office in the coming years, if I had to guess. But anyway, so these are the 2 governors we're discussing today. Now, Texas is trying to do an unusual redistricting, and this is something I kind of messed up in the gerrymandering video, because I was like, why are they doing this now? Usually they redistrict when, after a census, they do look at the numbers, which is why you should fill out your census, and they say, okay, we need to get more House members in this area because there's more people, or what, they look at these numbers. Well, this is an off-cycle census. It's unusual. And the reason that they are doing it, and I don't think they're being coy about it, they are trying to add 5 House seats that will go to the GOP or the Republicans. We'll just put GOP because that's Republican Party, okay? So they're calling a special session to add these House seats. Now, in response, the Democrats fled the state so that they couldn't have a quorum, which means enough people for the meeting, basically. So they fled. And then there's like a lot of politics going on with that. Like Texas is saying, oh, we could arrest you. And I don't know. But now the Democrats, I think, are coming back. I'm not exactly sure all of what's going on, but this is what it's all about, okay? Is Texas is trying to add 5 House seats to the GOP. Now, in response to that, Gavin Newsom has said he will initiate its own redistricting of California. But it is conditional. It is conditional that only if Texas redistricts. then Gavin Newsom will call a vote on November 4th, because the way California does it, you have to have voters decide whether to approve it. It's a state constitutional amendment they'd have to approve. So on November 4th, California would have a vote to see if they can redraw the maps to add 5 seats that are Democrats. But only if Texas does it. Like, yay. Okay, I think those are the facts right there, my friends. Now, some would say, and I've seen this in the comments on some news articles, that Texas should do this because the majority of their vote went to Trump and to their governor, Abbott. Both won by a majority. And that is true. Trump won the state of Texas by 56% of the vote. And that's why Trump's saying, no, they should be redrawn. But here's the second part of that, that currently their House seats are about this. But if they if they redistrict, then Republicans will have a House seat of, if they got them all, if it actually worked the way they want it to, they would end up with 79% of the House seats in Texas are Republican, not 56%. So they're like, you see what I'm saying? And that is called a seat vote distortion. And this is if they do it. If 5 seats added. Yeah, so that argument that's some fuzzy math right there, as Bush used to call it. And in the past, Democrats have tried to draw aggressive maps in New York and Illinois and Maryland. And so some states like California added independent redistricting commissions to reduce that kind of bias, which is why they have to go to a vote about it in November. In New York, when they did it, the court struck it down for violating their state's constitution. So, it's like we don't, as citizens, we shouldn't want this kind of gerrymandering going in either direction. Because, then you end up with situations like this. And we did that video about gerrymandering. It's kind of interesting when you show how it works. Yeah, it's sketchy. Anyway, I don't know. I was reading about this one time in Texas. I think it was 2003. They did this before, where the Republicans tried to gain House seats and the Dem lawmakers left the state. Like, this keeps happening in Texas. I don't know. Texas needs to take a look at what's going on there. I'm not sure. But it is unusual to have a mid-decade redraw like this. It's unusual. That's not a normal thing to have happen. Anyway, I'm not going to go into much more about it. I think those are the facts. And, I don't know what else to say about it. Just so you know what's up, because it is confusing. Oh, the other thing with California, they said if they do end up doing the redraw, it will be, what's the word I'm looking for? It will expire, basically, as soon as the new census, which would be 2030. So it's not like a permanent redraw. Looking for my Windex. I don't know where I put it. So there's that. Yeah, there's a lot going on right now. That's, I don't know, it's like wild. Wild West. I was looking at that paper from Nixon, and somebody said, there were a few comments that were kind of like, boy, to be back in the days when this was the most news. It's like, yeah, I know, it's crazy. It's kind of crazy right now. So much. But I think, the more you know, the more you know, as they say on Saturday morning television. The more you know. Anyway. I don't know why this, is it like an old hypnotist thing? Like, you're getting sleepy. I find it super chilly, relaxing. You're getting sleepy. It reminds me of like the old Batman. I think they'd run something like this over his head and he'd be like, oh, okay. Getting sleepy. What else should we talk about, guys? Can I stay in the lines? Can I do it? Oh my gosh, it's so hard. Maybe I'll shoot another video that's not about the news, because I know a lot of people, that is not what you want to fall asleep to. I'm a weirdo. I kind of like stuff like more, mind, like kind of interesting